Hello and welcome to a JobRobotix tutorial video. In today's video I want to talk about how to add a user and adjust permissions for users. So the best place to go, the first place to go to work on adding users is settings and then manage users. You'll see I am the only user in this account right now. I'm my test user. But if I want to add some other users, I'll click add. And the main information you need to be able to add in the first place is an email, kind of username. So let's just come with another one. Gonna be very generic. We'll call it test2 at training.com, something like that. And I'll give it a name as well, test2. This is going to be just a normal user, and then I'm going to give it a username and password. And one of the useful things for you if you're first setting up a user is you can set kind of a generic one, and then if you use the user's email, let's say you have someone on your team that you're adding, if you put their email here and then you click reset password after that, you can basically it'll send them an email where they can kind of go ahead and reset their own and have a password that's unique and different than a general one that you use. But in this case, I'm just going to put a general one so that we can log in and see what this looks like as well. Okay, so I'm going to save to start. We have all this stuff. Well, next we'll look at permissions in a second, but save. We have test2. Okay, so test2 set up, has a username and password, and if they log in, they can log in with it. But if I go to permissions, you'll notice that it's fairly blank so far. For a basic user, they're not allowed to do a ton of different things, and we have kind of the values set pretty basically for them. But you might want them to do a few more things. So I want to talk through kind of what permissions exist and what you might want people to do. Account settings gives you the ability to click on this button really. So settings, account settings, and so you have the ability to see things like, can my users adjust VMS rates? Can you come into like the target? Let's, for instance, you're using Bullhorn or Nexus or Salesforce, something like that, and maybe update the password, change the password that you would do in here. Can you see some of the other information about like user licenses and everything else? All that useful information for you. Okay. Beyond that, does this person have the ability to manage users? So can they see the settings manage users thing? If they can manage users, technically they have the ability to delete people, to reset passwords, to change people's preferences and configurations, to change permissions. So keep in mind that if someone has this account, it should be an account admin or somebody who you really trust to manage everything correctly. Can they manage profit scoring? In settings, profit scoring, you have the ability to set defaults for profit scoring if you use that feature in our system to do calculations and stuff like that. So that's an important kind of thing. Do they have linked account approver? This doesn't matter for a lot of people, but let's say your team acquired another team and both of you use JobRobotix and both of you have different accounts and you're merging or something like that. Well, for a while you might have two linked accounts where you have kind of, I don't know, let's just say a healthcare side and a non-healthcare side, or a nursing versus allied teams, and you want separate accounts for them or something like that. In this case, you might need to have one user account connected to the main one, and then you want to keep your same user account. You want to be able to log in with your same credentials and then still access the other people's account. Well, it's possible. There's a little drop down in the top right that'll let you toggle between the two accounts. But this lets you request to link an account and to approve somebody else linking between these two accounts. And like I said, doesn't happen very often. Not everyone uses this feature, but that's what it is. Reports. In the reports tab, being able to see job report or rules report or XML job report, all these different things. That's what that controls. Data collection history. Do I have the ability to see when tasks have run? In addition to this, if you're forwarding emails to us, to be able to like prompt tasks to pull data more quickly for different jobs, useful thing. That'll be in the data collection history too. So if you don't want someone to see that, you'd have to have that off. Data collection tasks. Can somebody go and see the task that you currently have? Can they potentially add a new task? That's going to be here. Can they change the password or credentials for current tasks? Can they even see those credentials with that? Manage JobRobotix ATS data. Within ATS data, if you do any sort of mapping, your different mapping things are here, and I have the ability to kind of even edit some of these fields if I want to, and change some things with different ATS values that we have. Do they have permission for that? Back into the permissions. Staging. Do they have the ability to see staging? Automatically, it's yes, but some people prefer to only give reports access to somebody, so they can't make any changes or look at any mapping or do anything like that. Hide or hold jobs or cancel jobs. In staging, you have the ability to select a job and click it as cancel job, hide, or put on hold, and this will manually lock a job. Like if I cancel a job, for instance, and I say I don't want this job, the system remembers the job and remembers it forever until you come back in and mark it as open again. And so this is very useful, especially if your team's looking at one and you know you're never going to want this job again. It helps you to, in case the job closes and reopens and closes and reopens and all that, it'll stay canceled. And if you trust your team, you trust this person to be able to do that appropriately and to remove jobs only that you don't want, then that's what you would select this setting. Next, adding ATS clients. If you use Nexus or CTM as your target, there's an ability to create ATS facilities and clients from within JobRobotix. So you're adding them to your ATS platform and then being able to map them from within JobRobotix. So it makes kind of a quicker step for you. But does this person have that permission? Can they create and edit business rules? They have the ability to go into rules and make adjustments. Can they manage advanced rules? This is typically not something that's done by users, but you can notice, if I come to this rule and I click advanced, there's an advanced format and syntax for writing rules in an advanced way. This is especially useful for if you have some complex logic, oftentimes not necessary. But if it's clicked on advanced, does this person have the ability to come in here and see it, edit it, all that kind of stuff? That's what that's trying to say. Next. Do they have the ability to map jobs? Can they make those kind of adjustments and to your mapping to send it to your ATS in different ways? Set the VMS bill rate. This we've expanded over time, probably needs to be relabeled, but right now what this is saying is, do they have the ability to manually adjust job data within staging? So if I come to staging, I can actually adjust this hospital to be Houston Methodist, for instance. If I say that this job is coming in correctly and it should be this instead, you'll notice it locks it permanently. And this works for facilities, start, duration, degree, shift, all that kind of stuff. All these blue hyperlinks you're seeing, I can make manual adjustments to specific jobs. And so if you trust users to be able to kind of update that bit of information in those ways, then that'd be a great permission for them to have. Viewing ATS data, being able to see the ATS data within data mapping, and then billing module. So does this person have the ability to see, when our next bill is, how much it costs, who's getting it, that kind of stuff, getting the kind of the invoice basically. And then lastly, the bottom one's submission. If you don't do submission, then I wouldn't worry about this, but being able to see the log of what jobs have been submitted and package and all that kind of stuff, being able to see all that is useful as well. So if you want any of these permissions, you will check them. You can decide exactly what you want. Notice that if I have a normal standard user and I adjust these permissions, it'll even tell me that, hey, these don't recognize the standard role. And then I would save. And then also to note this as well, when I do add these different things, you'll see these populate on the right. A user might not have everything, and they might not have, like for instance, if I go to dashboard and I try and click on this button right here, this takes me to job report. If I don't have permission to go to job report in the settings, then I can't click this button. I'm going to click it and it's going to do nothing, and I'm going to be confused. So that's oftentimes a issue that we get here on the support team, that people are confused by why this isn't seeming to work when it actually is. Um, Lastly, couple small other things within managed users. You have the notifications. This is super useful for getting task alerts, billing alerts, or system alerts. So if there's some issue with billing, overdue, or let's say, I don't know, something happens, or you need extra information or something like that, and we want to send some sort of billing alert to your team, this would be the people who would receive it, would be the ones who have this checked. System alerts would be, if the system is down, or if there's any kind of big things happening with updates or anything like that on our side, whether or not you receive alerts. Task alerts are probably the most useful here, or most common thing that you would use. If a task gets automatically canceled or disabled because we haven't been able to log in for a couple times in a row, it'll disable, and then it'll send you a notification that says, hey, come take a look at this. Oftentimes the solution is just someone on the team updated the password on the VMS side but didn't ever put the password in within JobRobotix. And so getting this alert allows you to be able to make sure that you have more uptime right on tasks than downtime. And then finally, preferences. If you want to change the time zone this person's in, if you want to change the duration to days or weeks so that it shows in staging properly, date format. Right now it defaults to month, day, year. If you want a different one, you can do that. Same thing with time. And then support tickets default. The support tickets right now default to you seeing all of them, but you can filter by status, closed or open, or whatever else too. So it's another preference kind of thing. But yeah, so that is managing users. And if you have any additional information, any additional questions that you have for us, any issues that you're having, please reach out to us via Get Help support and open a ticket for us. We'd be happy to help you. Have a nice day.